Welcome back, summer school students. It's week 5. I hope that you survived the heat yesterday. It was insane. I hope nobody melted. Apparently, it's supposed to be really hot again today, so please drink water and take care of your body because the sun really takes a lot of it, the sun and the heat. Okay, I am Miss Wistowski. I'm your summer school teacher if you're just joining us today. If you have trouble saying Wistowski, you're welcome to call me Ms. S. Some important information about the course. You need to check in on Schoology conferences every day so I can mark you present. If you're having issues with Schoology conferences or the internet, like I know yesterday the power went out at my house for about like 2 hours. I'll never mark you absent because you have computer troubles, but you need to get a hold of me either by email or if you need my phone number to text me, I'll give it to you, or message me on Schoology. Because if you're present, you get 5 points just for checking in with me on Schoology conference or letting me know that you had computer trouble. And 0 for not doing anything. So it's all or nothing. You get 5 points for being here and 0 if you are absent without letting me know what happened. Every day there are 2 quizzes for you to take on GradPoint. They are 5 questions each, so that's a total of 10 questions every day. There is a grade for every single quiz that you take. You get 5 points for above a 65 and 2 points for below a 65. So I want everyone to earn 5 points. The best way I think you can earn 5 points is taking notes on YouTube summary. Again, the red word is the vocabulary word and the underlined words after is the definition. So I'd watch the video, I'd write down the red word, I would write down the underlined words, I would take that piece of paper or page in your notebook and I would put it next to you as you take the quiz. Okay, speaking of quizzes, these are all the quizzes that should be done by now in yellow. Remember, 2 quizzes per day. We just finished day 4 yesterday. 4 times 2 is 8. And by the end of today, we should have 10 quizzes done. So this was Monday. These were the quizzes on Tuesday. These were the quizzes on Wednesday. And these were the quizzes that we finished yesterday. If you are not up to respiration, you are behind already. And I don't want that to happen. All right, before the next lesson, when I see you on Monday, you should have read Introduction to the Cell Cycle and the Stages of Cell Division on GradPoint. And you should take the quiz Introduction to the Cell Cycle and the quiz Stages of Cell Division on GradPoint. So that all should be done before Monday when I see you again, and hopefully you should have all the quizzes before that finished as well if that's not done. Okay, so how do I get in today's lesson? I'm going to hit Unit 1 still. It's going to pop up to these different folders. We are now on folder 4, cell division, and we're doing the entire folder today. So everything in this unit, or excuse me, number 4 folder needs to be done. Now I'm finished with the class information. We're going to start talking about the grad query. So if you are taking notes, you should get out your pen, get out your paper, because now we're going to start taking notes for our quiz. Our first chapter today is Introduction to the Cell Cycle Summary. Okay, so humans, like all animals, have a life cycle. The human life cycle is baby, then child, then teenager, and finally adult. Well, cells also have a life cycle just like you and I would have. It's not called a life cycle, now it's called the cell cycle, and it has 2 phases, interphase and cell division. So we have like 4 or 5 stages of our life cycle. The cell cycle is just going to have 2, interphase and cell division. And so look at this pie chart that I just put up, and we can see that the biggest slice of the pie in the cell cycle is interphase. So most of the cell's life cycle is spent in interphase. At the end of interphase, the cell gets ready to divide. So right before it enters cell division, the cell starts to prepare itself to go into that next phase, or it starts to prepare itself to divide. So in order to get ready to divide, and we're going to call this cell division, not math division, cell division, the cell must replicate, and replicate is a fancy science word for copy its DNA. Do you remember what DNA is? DNA is an important molecule found in the nucleus that tells cells what to do and what to make. So it's basically like the cell's instruction manual. It's a molecule that gives instructions for the cell. DNA has a very special shape. It looks like a ladder that has been twisted into a shape we called a helix. So it almost goes in like a spiral. So if you look at the GIF, imagine if I could untwist that spiral, it would look like a ladder. So that shape is very special to DNA. So if we look at the inside of DNA, you see those little lines that are different colors in that model. There are bases. And there are 4 bases that make up DNA, and they only like to hang out with certain bases. So let's talk about the 4 bases. We have adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. I know that's a mouthful. You don't need to know the full name, but you do need to remember the first letter. So A, T, C, G. So you could remember the 4 bases by making up a little saying, like some people like to say apple in the tree, car in the garage. So the 4 bases are AT, apple tree, CG, car garage. And you got to know which bases pair with which bases. So they're like going to be couples, and they're only going to pair with their specific boyfriend, girlfriend, or partner. So let's look at these couples. Adenine will always bind with thymine, so you could say A will always bind with T. Remember apple tree, where are apples found? Apples are found in the tree. What can you find in the tree? You can find apples. So A and T are always going to bind together. Thymine always binds with adenine. Then we're going to move on to the second set of bases. Cytosine always binds with guanine, or C always binds with G. Remember, the car is found where? In the garage, not the tree, not the apple. And vice versa, guanine or G will always pair with cytosine or C. What's in a garage? Cars. So you got to remember A with T, T with A, C with G, G with C. And these are the 4 base pairs of DNA, which is found inside the DNA molecule, not on the outside, on the inside. Okay, so again, when DNA copies itself, we call it replication, just a fancy science word for copy, to copy. When replication starts, nitrogen bases, so remember ATCG, those are bases. They're made of an element called nitrogen. So sometimes they're called nitrogenous bases. You could also say nitrogen bases. So these bases are just chilling in the nucleus. And when replication starts, the bases are going to come together and combine like you're seeing in this picture. So you've got all those little different colors, green, yellow, blue in that diagram. Those represents all the different bases, and they will come together and combine to make DNA and replication. And you basically want to double the amount of DNA in the nucleus before you divide. Okay, please stop and hit pause because I just finished the first summary of our first chapter. So we are done with introduction to the cell cycle, and what I need you to do is I need you to take your notes, and I need you to go take your quiz, introduction to the cell cycle. If you didn't take notes, go rewind and take notes, and you can stop here and try to take that quiz. Please don't move on until you take that quiz so that all of the information is fresh in your head. Now we are moving on to our second chapter of the day, which is cell division summary. When a cell enters cell division, the goal is to make 2 identical or same cells from only 1 cell. So you want to make 2 from 1. Making 2 same or identical cells from 1 cell is called mitosis. Mitosis is a fancy science word for cell division. And during mitosis, the nucleus divides in 2 because the goal of mitosis is to make 2 new cells from 1 cell. So mitosis is going to happen in 5 stages. And here's a little GIF of all of the stages. The 5 stages are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So after the cell goes through those 5 stages in the right order, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase, 2 new cells will be made. Now, you got to know these phases in the correct order. So I want you to think of the silly word PMAT to help you remember the steps in order. So my nephew, who's 2, spends a lot of time at my house, and he's potty trained, but he's not the best aimer, if you know what I mean. So if I don't clean my bathroom and if I don't clean that mat in front of my toilet, it will literally turn into a P mat. So when you think of mitosis, think of P mat. P for prophase, M for metaphase, A for anaphase, T for telophase. Those are the orders or the stages of mitosis in the right order. Okay, again, how are we going to remember the stages of mitosis? You're going to think of my disgusting bathroom after my nephew comes over and misses the toilet, and think of my P mat. P for prophase, M for metaphase, A for anaphase, and T for telophase. But it's not enough to know the names and order of the stages of mitosis. We need to know exactly what happens. So let's start with prophase. In prophase, the sloppy chromatin, remember chromatin is basically like loose spaghetti, and instead of it being spaghetti, it's actually just long strands of DNA. So we have sloppy long strands of DNA that are called chromatin that will condense or come together to form chromosomes that are shaped like the letter X. So in this GIF, when we're looking at the different stages of mitosis, you keep seeing these yellow X's, and those are supposed to represent chromosomes, which are just basically very, very organized long strands of DNA that are coiled together in rod-like shapes that make an X. And why does the cell do that? Well, because it's nice and neat and organized. So it's better than that loosey-goosey long strands of DNA that is called chromatin. Okay, so the next phase is my favorite phase because M for metaphase, M for middle. Chromosomes are going to line up in the middle of the cell, and that's the only thing that basically happens during metaphase. A for anaphase, A for apart. The chromosomes are going to move apart to opposite sides of the cells because in telophase, something called cytokinesis is going to happen. And at the very end of telophase, I will have 2 new cells from one cell. Okay, so here's a GIF of cytokinesis. On the left is the animation, and on the right is where it actually happens with a real life cell. So cytokinesis is like cell pinching. During cytokinesis, what's going to happen is the organelles are going to be distributed into 2 new cells. What does that mean? That you're going to take your organelles, you're going to separate them so that each new cell has the same amount of organelles. Remember, the goal of mitosis is to make 2 identical or same cells. So in order to do that, you have to make sure that you have the same thing in each cell. So again, during cytokinesis, the organelles are distributed into new cells. And after cytokinesis, you have 2 new identical same cells that are made, and that is the goal of mitosis, to make 2 identical cells from one original OG cell. Okay, please stop because we are done with cell division. So you should have some nice notes on cell division. Please take those notes, go to GradPoint, and take the quiz cell division. If you are done with that, congratulations, you are done for the week, our first week of summer school. Enjoy your time off. You deserve it. You've earned it. You work hard, and I will see you back here on Monday.